All right, Thursday night on the Krug Show, Sterling Bennett in the house. The Thursday nighter goes to the Packers. They look good. They're 2-0. They're rolling. How about the Niners? What are they going to do Sunday in the Big Easy? We will be there, and we're going to talk about it right now. Come aboard, Krug Show, Thursday night. I love Thursday nights. Thursday nights might be the best night to talk sports. All right, off and running on the Krug Show Thursday night. Sterling Bennett here. We're brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. Get some brisket. Get some brisket chili. Tell them Krug sent you. You will not be disappointed. You go to Pig and a Pickle once, you'll be a fan for life. And this football season is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and, of course, Sleeper picks. That's right. You're seeing it right there on the screen for daily fantasy. All you got to do is use the promo code Larry, Larry, and Sleeper will match your deposit, your first deposit, up to $100. So the link's in the description. Terms and conditions do apply. Man, I'm fired up to have Sleeper with us this year, and we did a lineup, $5 to win 78.60, and we had Debo 46.5 receiving yards less than that hit. We had the Ertz anytime touchdown that hit, but we also had Marcus Golden, and he only had above 32.5 receiving yards. I hate to say it. I don't think that was my pick. That might have been Raj's pick. I hate to say, because I'm not a Golden guy myself, at least not early on here. 2 catches, 15 yards. So he went under.
Whenever you miss, blame the guest, right?
What's that? Yeah.
Whenever you miss, blame the guest. Always their fault.
I mean, seriously, I'm an honest man. This one I was for the Parsons anytime sack. And I guess he had 2 total tackles and 2 total assists, 3 quarterback hits, but no sacks. So there you go. Loser. It would have been worth 78.60, but instead we lost. But use the code Larry, get your $100 deposit matched up to your first 100, I should say, matched courtesy of our good friends at Sleeper. And we're big fans of Sleeper. We'll do a Sleeper lineup a little bit later on. But let's get off and running on this thing. I've talked a lot about the 49ers and the Saints already this week, and I'm fired up to talk more about it with you tonight, Sterling. And one of the things that I think is interesting, I saw a stat today. Since 2022, the Niners offense, when both Kittle and Purdy are off the field, right, when they're not playing, ranks 30th in the NFL. All right. But when Purdy and Kittle are playing, the Niners offense ranks first in the NFL. And what we're talking about is the stat is EPA per play. So the Niners EPA per play with Kittle and Purdy off the field, they're one of the worst teams in the NFL. But when those guys are on the field, they lead the NFL in EPA per play. That being said, how do you feel about the Niners Sunday in the Dome against the Saints?
It feels weird to say that I think they're going to win because really the confidence level shouldn't be this high, knowing that you don't have Brock Purdy, you don't have George Kittle. You may or may not have Jawan Jennings. I know he's out there today, but I don't think he had pads on. So maybe it's because the Saints might be the worst team in football, not named the Miami Dolphins coming out of week 1, which I don't know. Like if it was the Cardinals or the Jaguars or the Rams, I probably wouldn't feel this good, but at least in a week 2 microcosm, I feel pretty confident in San Francisco's chances on Sunday against New Orleans.
I do as well. And I just kind of feel like, it's, sometimes the Niners have an easy schedule, but what? Maybe they're going to need their easy schedule because they may not be full flight until, later in the year. It may be one of those years where, you catch the 49ers in December and watch out, but you catch him in September and October, and they could just be okay. I think it's going to be really interesting. Can Mac Jones go on the road, first start in a 49er uniform? Was he or wasn't he Kyle's guy in 21? Mike Lombardi thought he was, and Mike Lombardi's got connections, and he knows people in the league. Heck, his kid, Mick Lombardi, is the quarterback coach of Brock Purdy right now. So Mike Lombardi's connected in NFL circles. He was convinced. He wanted Mac Jones. He didn't want Trey Lance. So we're going to get to see now Mac Jones starting for Kyle Shanahan. And I don't know what you think, but I'll just be on record before I won't be influenced yet by what you think. I want to hear what you think. I think it's going to work out really, really well. I think Mac's going to play really, really well. What do you think? How do you see Mac Jones playing Sunday?
I think the Niners would be smart not to protect Mac Jones in a way, like hide him away from the defenses of the Saints, but I think the Niners would be smart to get back to running the football, 28 times a game, 30 times a game. Now, you can start to question how long can Christian McCaffrey hold up if you do that out of week one after he ran 22 times and caught 9 passes against Seattle. But maybe it's just because it's the Saints. I do believe in Mac Jones this Sunday. I think he has the arm for the offense. You may lose some mobility, which that does open questions about how good San Francisco's pass protection can be, which against Seattle, it wasn't very good, but you're playing a worse defense in New Orleans. So maybe it helps Mac Jones, and you give him a free couple pockets. He'll make some plays happen. Now, again, there's more questions than just Mac Jones. The offensive weaponry, having Jake Tunn just play instead of George Kittle, not having Ayuk and Robinson and all those guys, maybe be reliant on MVS and Kendrick Bourne and Jawan Jennings, who may be hindered. But I think Mac Jones, if indeed he was Kyle Shanahan's guy, who knows? Maybe he was, maybe he wasn't. There's clear reasons as to why Kyle did at least like him coming out of the draft. He's a fairly good processor. He has a fairly good arm. He can run the system Kyle needs him to run to win football games, and I think that's what it'll take against the Saints going forward. I don't know, but I think this Sunday, this is kind of a nice introduction for him. You're playing a defense that doesn't really get to the quarterback. You're playing a defense that doesn't really have great cornerbacks in themselves. They just lost their number one safety in Julian Blackmon. They're not going to have Chase Young on Sunday. Their defense, that being San Francisco's defense, should really be able to hold this Saints offense to under 14 points this weekend, which should give this offense and San Francisco's offense a chance to put up 20 and walk out with the 2010 victory. I'm pretty confident in Mac Jones on Sunday. I think Kyle will scheme up guys to avoid Mac's biggest detriment. And that is turnovers. 45 interceptions through 5 seasons of play. It's not great. How do you offset that? One of the best play callers in football, scheming guys open for you instead of having it throw through tight windows on every given throw.
I think this is a run the heck out of it kind of a game. I mean, Jordan James was back at practice. You got CMC, you got Robinson at full throttle, you got Garendo. I think this is a run the heck out of it game. Now, Kyle always likes to maintain offensive balance, and I'm not saying he's not going to let Jones throw it. I think he will. But I think this is a run, go up top kind of a game. I think Mac Jones throws a really nice deep ball. I like the Mac Jones deep ball. He throws it with touch, throws it with timing. And I think the game plan this week is run the heck out of it. Stat to remember: Arizona in week 1 against the same Saints defense ran 27 times for 146 yards. That's 5.4 a carry. Okay, so I think that's where you start. You run the heck out of it, and you draw that extra guy into the box. And then I'll tell you, today I was at practice. The one guy who I saw, running with Pearsall as the number one tandem without Jennings practicing. Jennings didn't practice, but you got MVS there, you got Bourne, but none of them. It was Jordan Watkins, and Jordan Watkins is moving really, really well. He looks good. This guy's got 4.3 speed, and I think this is the week that he Kyle dust him off. I think he's going to be really good.
Well, I think on top of that, you talked about running the football, establishing the ground and pound, if you will. I looked at the stats from last week with the Saints and the Cardinals last week, right? They got into play action fairly often against the Saints. 12 play action plays run. Their offensive grade jumped from 59.1 all the way up to 75.6 on play action plays. So
Wow.
I think if you run the football pretty well and you can establish Brian Robinson and Christian McCaffrey, get you 4.5 yards per carry, force guys into the box, you may have a chance, maybe early in the game, take a deep shot downfield and get this Saints, pretty rough, bad roster on their heels early, which might be enough. Like the odds are, they're not going to score much against your defense if they can replicate what it did against Seattle. But I think run the football. It's like play action. I would like to see there be a kind of reversion back to what this offense looked like under Jimmy Garoppolo, where 18 passes in the game for Mac Jones, keep things simple, keep it honest, run the football, get in, get out, get a win. You don't have to score 35 points against the Saints. Like all you have to do is milk that clock, play some keep away, run the football 30 plus times, and you should find pretty easy success against this New Orleans defense.
It's funny. I asked Saleh today, I said, you guys played complimentary football this week. I'm like, you beat Seattle in the time of possession by 16 minutes. Yeah. I'm like, how much did that help your young defense at the end? He's like, that's a good observation by you. I'm like, oh, thank you. I was like, that's right. It was.
Yeah,
that's right. It's a good observation. That's why I said it. What if I doubled down on it? But no, he's like, yes. I mean, basically, the 49ers played complimentary football. But I thought the key in last week's game, looking at it, you say, what did you see different this year from last year or other years? I felt like Shanahan on the 6th and 7th drive, they both came in the third quarter. He committed to the run. We have a stats guy now who works for our channel that goes through the fine tooth comb every aspect of the game. And I was just looking at some of his basic data. The Niners in the third quarter against Seattle ran the ball 61% of the time. That's their highest percentage in any quarter in this game. And I thought that commitment, I thought that Bosa and the boys up front really benefited from that. They had tons left in the tank in the fourth quarter when Shanahan said, hey, close out this game for us. And they were able to because they were fresh. So I asked Saleh about playing complimentary football. Is it key to protecting his young D? And he's like, yeah. So we'll see if they can do it. But I like that. I think I know Shanahan, I'm sure, likes the freedom to be able to do whatever he wants and not have to, think about this. But I kind of think he's a better coach when he's forced to play complimentary ball, when he's forced to run the ball a little bit more and to commit to the run in the second half. They didn't run it all that effectively, but they kept running it. And this week, I think they'll probably run it more effectively.
I think now with Mac Jones playing quarterback, and you do lose some of the playmaking ability of a Brock Purdy to get out there on the football and scramble with his legs, I do think you'll see a more, not basic, but a more focused offense from Kyle Shanahan, where he doesn't mind Brock playing a little hero ball at some point and maybe getting kind of a little crazy. And again, the big Jake Tunges touchdown pass, like he would not want that normally. It was like, we're going for it on fourth down, throw the ball away, and we'll live the fight the next down. But with Mac Jones, you're not going to have that stuff out there. So I think you will see a more focused offense from Kyle. And I, like you're saying, run the football. Like this Saints defense last week was 146 yards, I think, on the ground. 108 of that came from the quarterbacks, Trey Benson and James Conner of the Cardinals. So they are perceptible to being gashed on the ground. And I think a lot of what you're saying also mixes well with how bad the offensive line played last week. 35 dropbacks for Brock Purdy. You don't want Mac Jones doing that on Sunday. Whether it's the Cardinals or the Saints or the Rams, like you don't ever want him doing that for you. You're probably losing a lot in those games playing catch up. And I think how bad the offensive line played, I think it was 57% of Brock Purdy's dropbacks for pressures. How do you avoid that? you run the football. Avoid having to pass protect and put your quarterback in harm's way enough where I think Shanahan knows that. I think Chris Forrester knows that. And I think they realize that if we are going to survive, whether it's 1 week, 2 weeks, a month, without Brock Purdy, we are going to have to find a way to get back to playing 2019 through 2021 San Francisco 49ers football.
Do you think Shanahan has low standards for his offensive line, or do you think that's just things that he just says, whatever he has to, he says whatever he has to say to get through the presser? Because, I mean, he's like, yeah, I like what the way my offensive line's playing. It's like, really? I mean, why?
Are you sure?
You've got one of the best backs ever, according to you, and that back ran for 3.1 a carry, and as you just stated, your quarterback is now out with turf toe for maybe a month, and he got hit 8 times. That's 136 hit pace over a 17-game schedule. And, it's like, is this, so you gave up 20, pressure on 60% of his dropbacks, and you couldn't run the ball, but you're pleased with your offensive line. I mean, what if you gave up, I don't know, just for shits and giggles, what if you gave up like 2 hits on the quarterback instead of 8? And what if instead of running for like 3 yards a carry, let's say you ran for like 5 a carry? Then how would you feel about your O-line then? I mean, if you like him now, it's like, I wish some people would love me as much as Shanahan loves his freaking offensive line. Or do you think he just says whatever he needs to say just to get through the presser and back his guys, and reality be damned?
It's probably the latter. Shanahan definitely doesn't like talking to the media that much. Obviously, the back and forth with Eric Branch with turf toe, I think, was a good indication of that at the press conference, I think, on Monday or Tuesday. But I do wonder, though, facing a Seattle defense is significantly harder. The matchups they give you, the looks they give you compared to the Saints defense, ran by Brandon Staley, a Fangio disciple, hasn't changed much. They lost their best defensive player, Julian Blackman, last week. Like, they don't have bodies good enough already in that room. And look, San Francisco's hurt too, but I think that when you're playing the Saints compared to the Seahawks, you should automatically see an improvement, and you're hoping Trent's okay. He didn't practice today. I'm sure he'll play on Sunday, but he wasn't great. Like, is that a sign of things to come, or is that just one blip in the radar? I don't know. Hopefully it's, again, the latter, but I would like to think against the Saints that really cannot find any pass rush whatsoever outside of Cam Jordan a year like $1 billion. Like, they should find some success to block for Mac Jones this Sunday. But Shanahan saying that they were good against the Seahawks. It was like, are you watching the same game we are? Because it definitely doesn't look that way.
By the way, one guy, it's amazing what a little competition will do for your health. Ben Barch's knee sure got better in a hurry because he's got Connor Colby sitting right there, and he's no fool. He knows if he goes in there and Colby plays as well as I think he's going to play, it may be the Colby era, and Ben Barch may be waiting for, an injury to get another opportunity. But Barch got in, Barch, I like the way Barch plays, when he does play. I mean, he's a big physical guy. He's not a guy that you can bull rush into the lap of the quarterback. He can kind of stonewall the bull rushers. He's got enough foot quickness to kind of keep up with the guys who have a little speed. I kind of like Barch. I think they haven't. I mean, I know they went from Banks, who got paid big time, but I mean, I'd rather have them gone with Barch, even though I like Banks as a guy. I don't think you can justify paying Banks what he got when you've got Barch there. If he's worse than Banks, he's just slightly worse.
Yeah, it's, do you want to pay a guy $72 million to retain him who didn't even play tonight against the Commanders, or Ben Barch, who's probably making like $2 million max this season? Like, the bang is not worth the buck in Aaron Banks. So, do I love Ben Barch? I mean, he's fine. I would have much rather see somebody else get a shot, but my concern with Ben Barch really is the injury stuff. He's never been healthy, and he'll play through stuff and whatnot, and I think he fits the offense fairly well. But really right now it's like, can Pooney stay healthy? Can Williams stay healthy? Can Barch stay healthy? They're so thin there or if one of those guys goes down, you may find some insulation on the interior. But once you get to tackle, they only had one active tackle on Sunday against the Seahawks, and Trent almost got hurt in that game. Like, that's concerning.
Yeah, no question about it. Almost as concerning as the fact that I've yet to put together my sleeper lineup. And now is that time. All right. The 49er Football on the Krug Show is presented by Sleeper, the fastest growing fantasy platform in the world. It's a one-stop shop. You get blazing fast news, real-time stats, group chat, season-long leagues, and of course, Sleeper picks for daily fantasy, where you choose 2-day players pregame or live and pick more or less on their projections. And if you're new to it, all you got to do is use the promo code Larry. Who could forget that name? It's like, just think of they always make Larry just the total a-hole in commercials. Have you noticed that? It's like really, really popular. Larry. It's a good name to like kind of spoof on. No, it's not quite Karen status. It's not in that status, but it's people crap on Larry. I mean, it's an easy name to crap on, especially in commercials. Larry's the jerk in the commercial, or the guy who just didn't get it. Larry. Maybe I've watched a lot of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Anyway, if you're new to it, use the promo code Larry, and you'll get 100% deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. The link is right there in the description. Terms and conditions apply. I'm actually okay with my name, I guess, a little bit. My mother used to call me Lawrence, but I've never liked Lawrence. I think they called me that at school a couple times, and I was like, Once the kids found out I didn't like it, then whenever they wanted to piss me off, they would call me that. But anyway, I digress. Get up to 100% match if you use the code Larry. Thank you, Sleeper. All right, let's make a lineup. More importantly than me talking about my hangups and why I am who I am, let's get into some wagering. Some real good wagering. Let's go Mac Jones. Mac Jones. Ooh. I'm going more. It's like Card Sharks. Lower, more.
It's like no whammy.
You remember that?
Hey, pressure luck, Mac Jones style.
No whammy. Stop. Yes, you're going to Cancun. I love that. That was an incredible game show. All right, I'm going Mac Jones to the moon, man. Mac Jones over 203.5 or more than 203.5. I think Mac Jones is throwing for. No, I don't know. I don't
300.
Know well, I don't know about that, because I do think the Niners will run the hell out of it. But you know what? I could picture the Niners running it, drawing the Saints into the box, and going up top to Watkins. The Mac Jones deep ball, the Watkins deep routes, I like it, and I could see it on this turf. In this place, I'm going to be in the house. First time I've been there since Super Bowl 47. Hopefully I won't have flashbacks of LaMichael James or Harbaugh running LaMichael James and not throwing fades to Crabtree. God, Jim Harbaugh gagged. I know people love Jim Harbaugh and they like to blame Shanahan for losing the Super Bowl last year, but Jim Harbaugh gagged in Super Bowl 47. First and goal from the 7. You have Kaepernick and Gore, and you don't run either. And you run LaMichael James and have Kaepernick, Mr. I can't throw with touch to save my life, throw fades. I mean, you deserve to lose. You called timeouts with the old-ass Ravens at the end of a long drive in the fourth quarter. They're like gassed. I'm like on the binoculars. Pollard's like, Ed Reed can barely breathe. Peloti nada. Jim Harbaugh's like, timeout. I need to think about it. Oh my God, you moron.
I was talking to Larry Grant a couple of years back, and he even said on the sideline, we were all screaming, why are we not giving it to Frank? Like, he's the best running back in franchise history. Dude, why are we not giving him the football?
There was a play where they called Kaepernick on a sprint option to the right. And if you go back and watch it again, if he just takes off for the goal line, I think it's the second play. I think it's second down. If he just takes off for the goal line, at worst, he would have been hit at the 2, and it would have been 3rd and goal from the 2. Instead, he drifts, and then throws a bullet off Crabtree's shoulder pads, diving at the pylon. Yeah, he's gonna Crabtree was going to catch some freaking Kaepernick laser as he's diving. I mean, just
2 yards out.
God, they blew that.
Man.
But I'm over it. I'm over it.
Yeah.
Mac Jones, 204 yards or more. All right, we got that one. One's in the bag.
Do you think the chemistry that Mac Jones has, albeit we saw it in one preseason game, he took a shot with Watkins deep in that first one against the Broncos and hit it for like 40 yards downfield. It does feel like that of the quarterbacks in the room, that Mac Jones may be pretty comfortable throwing to Jordan Watkins, where maybe Brock Purdy isn't just yet, or of course Martinez was rostered today, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, Mac Jones just throws a beautiful deep ball, and it's kind of a teardrop. It has kind of a some arc, but Watkins has got great ability to separate. He can really rumble. All right, let's see. Let's go with gosh, let's go with Pearsall, because that Pearsall is interesting. He only caught 4 balls last week.
Yeah, for 108 yards, I think.
But it was for over 100 yards.
Yeah.
So what are the options here? You got 56 or 55 and a half yards. I could go more than that for Pearsall. What do you think? Or, well, I don't know, actually. I do think it's going to be a run-heavy game. So let's go back. Let's see the running backs. Let's go back to the running backs. I think this is probably a Robinson game, right?
Okay.
You're probably going to get Robinson going. No,
I hope so. I think I'm looking at the stats right now last year with Jones in Jacksonville, and the differences in the stats and targets and receptions between Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones to Brian Thomas Jr., who was their receiver number 1 last year. And in 8 games with Mac Jones playing quarterback, Robinson Jr. had 80 targets, 52 receptions, 687 yards, and 5 touchdowns, and averaged about 16 fantasy points a game. So it does feel like that when Mac Jones likes a guy, he's going to feed him the football. So you may see a Pearsall, 8 to 10 target game in this one on Sunday, which if they're running the football, maybe that's not the case, but Pearsall feels like kind of a safe bet to say that he'll be a high target value for Mac Jones.
I don't know if they have targets. They have yards. Why don't we go 56 yards? Because if he gets a high volume of targets,
safe.
Yeah, more than
safe.
So I like that one. Let's take a look at Kamara, because Kamara. Now that's a 20. That's 24.5 yards receiving. You know what? 12 and a half rush attempts. Doesn't that seem like a no-brainer? He's not going to get 13 rushes. Is it that?
Did he have that many last week? I don't think he did. If he did, it was very close.
They spread it around last week.
Yeah.
Charbonnet ran the ball with success. All he needs is 51 yards. Kamara.
Yeah, Kamara touched the football 11 times last week on the ground.
11 times on the ground.
Didn't even reach 13, and he also caught 2 passes, so only 13 total touches last week.
Yeah, I like Kamara more than 50 and a half rush yards. I think he's going to get the ball a little bit. He's also really tough to handle. I mean, he's I was talking to some of the guys. They're like, Warner was talking about how difficult this guy is to handle. You have to really break down very consistently to tackle Kamara. He's just a tough guy in space. So is there an Eddie De Niro option? I need to bet on Eddie De Niro.
He's pretty good. He's pretty good against the Saints. I think he's missed 1 career field goal against the Saints.
No Eddie De Niro?
Carolina.
What? Come on, sleeper.
Where's the Jake Moody bet? Where's that at?
Where's the Eddie De Niro? Oh, no Eddie De Niro. Do we want to go? Let's see. How about CMC? What does CMC look like? All right, CMC, because he's been the guy. 81 and a half rush yards.
Ooh.
I think that seems high.
Yeah, I don't think he's getting that this Sunday.
To me, you can't. You're telling me that Christian McCaffrey at whatever age he's at, 30, right?
Is he even 30? I don't know if he's
29?
30 yet.
Maybe
Let's
28,
see.
29.
I think let's see.
But
He's
he's going
29.
to get 31 touches in week 1, and he's coming back in week 2 and is going to run. They did run for 5.4 a carry, but I think Arizona did, but I think it's going to be spread out.
Yeah,
I
don't think Christian McCaffrey's getting more than, I don't know,
that's
16 carries in this game. And I don't think he's reaching 85 yards or 81 and a half yards on the ground.
Yeah, let's go less. Less was less on the rush yards. All right, let's see what we got. $5 makes us 39.40. All right, take that.
It's not bad.
Little tip money. We're running around town. Thanks to Sleeper, by the way. Big thanks to Sleeper. Remember, use code Larry for 100% deposit match up to $100. Links right in the description. Terms apply. Help support the show and gets you rolling on the #1 sports app in the country. Sleeper. All right. Thanks to Sleeper for being a Krug show. Back here on the mainland. There we go. What do you think of the Jake Moody, Eddie Pinheiro transition here? Were you in that camp of like, should have happened months ago, or were you in the camp of give him a shot? Let's ride it out. I had said last week, like, hey, that's it. That's it. Enough. That's a wrap. Thanks for coming. Give me your take on the kicker controversy. Hopefully it will go away.
It's about time they decided to change something. I understand there is a logical standpoint to want Jake in there. You have roster control. He's a young guy. You can justify maybe he was hurt last year and he can bounce back. You get a new long snapper. You get a new placeholder. You get a new punter. You get a new coordinator in there. Maybe that can change things. But okay, you want to give that a shot. It was clear as day. Like, you were on thin ice. Jake Moody's on thin ice. The minute he made the kick in Las Vegas, game winner, you hope that was a change. So did John Lynch. Clearly, it didn't work. He missed the kick the next week against the Chargers in the preseason too. And I don't know. I think everybody else knew it wasn't going to work out. The fan base knew, you knew, I knew. I even think deep down, John and Kyle both knew that this is probably not going to work out, but we're going to give it a shot and see if it actually, can figure itself out. But I was so done with him. Tired of the, on the edge of my seat, biting my fingernails of, will this kick go through the uprights, knowing that it's probably not going to, no matter how much I pray to whatever God you believe in, because it's just not going to work out. He's not that good of a kicker, but dare I say, they kind of lucked out in finding what may have been the best kicker on the market, the third most accurate kicker in football, in Eddie Pinheiro, next to Harrison Butker and Josh Tucker, and I think tied with Chris Boswell in Pittsburgh. And at least in a 1 week standpoint, Eddie Pinheiro has been pretty much money against the Saints in his career. I believe he is, in his career, he is 16 for 17 on field goals and 8 for 8 on extra points. You go into his stats in New Orleans, 4 for 5 on field goals and 3 for 3 on extra points. So again, if it's a week by week basis or he's the guy going forward, this is a good week to have him in there, knowing you don't have Brock Purdy, you don't have George Kittle. He knows how to make kicks against the Saints. So I think, like the rest of the fan base, it was like, finally, what took so long to move on from this guy that was terrible for you for a year and a half, and find somebody that is hopefully competent at the position?
Yeah, I mean, it's just come on, man. I mean, it was just like, I felt bad. I felt bad for the Niners because they invested that pick in them. But then at the same time, I was disgusted by that pick. So, and I said it at the time. So in some ways, it's like, I would be vindicated on some level if they, if what I said was right. But I mean, I don't root like that. I mean, I do and don't. I mean, I want to be right, of course, like anybody, but I want the team to win. I'm not
Exactly.
rooting against him. Some people are like, you're rooting against Mikael Williams. No, I've just noticed that he's fucking sucks compared to Shamar Stewart. Sorry, and I wanted Shamar Stewart. So that's where I'm at on that. But I want the Niners to win. So it's like I'm rooting for all their guys. I just hope it works out because the Moody thing. You're right. They got totally lucky here. I mean, it's like, so you cut a guy who's totally struggling and shanking 35-yard field goals like it was nothing, and you found the third most accurate kicker in NFL history, and it's like Eddie Pinheiro, like, Eddie, what, you're one of the most accurate kickers. Why did you not have a gig? And it's like he was just waiting for a good offer. So I wonder what the Niners ultimately paid him. A lot of this is about money. I mean, the Niners had Jake Moody on a rookie deal, and I'm sure they wanted to stay with that and save all that money. Instead, I'm sure now they got to pay Eddie Pinheiro some dinero. Otherwise, he's not coming out of retirement. And obviously, they must outbid the Falcons because he said he was going to Atlanta if the Niners didn't call. And then he said, I want to win. But something tells me his agent was like, yeah, he wants to win, but he also wants to make some money. So
I wonder with the Falcons.
It's a pretty nice save. I have a feeling he might kick pretty well for the Niners, and it'll be a pretty nice save. But then you also have to sit there and go, well, wait a second. If you had this for sure kind of kicker veteran guy out there, why did you allow yourself to go into week one in a situation where if you get home field advantage, your chances of winning the Super Bowl go way up? The last time the Niners went to the Super Bowl, they had home field advantage, and you could cough up home field advantage very easily. So it's like, would have been nice for them to kind of, I don't know, fire their best out of the gate, but maybe they felt like they had to give Jake a shot. I don't know. I was done with Jake at the end of last year. To me, I didn't need the 2025 version. And then to say that there was a good competition. I mean, you can't say that, John. Come on.
It was a week, maybe.
The kicks that we saw, the guy who lost the competition won the competition. So it's like, wink, wink, trust us, trust us. It's like somebody saying that about the election or something. Wink, wink, our guy won, right? Right. It's like, we'd like to see some result. We'd like to see some proof, So
I also wonder if Pinheiro didn't want to be a part of a competition because the Falcons have their kicker. They brought in a new guy in the practice squad. That may have been an adjustment by them, but it felt like that Pinheiro didn't want to compete for a guy once he got signed, hence why you cut Moody, bring me in. I'm the only guy in the room. That felt like that was kind of the leverage for him of like, I don't want to be part of a two-man kicking competition. Either I'm your guy or I'm not your guy. And San Francisco finally said, our guy sucks. Come in, please save us, because right now we can't even make 27-yard field goals.
I mean, look how lucky the Niners got. Do you realize that Pinheiro, the last 3 years with the Carolina Panthers, made 90% of his field goals?
Yeah,
90% of his field goals, and you're messing around with Shank City over here.
Yeah. Well, Jake had 70% last year, the worst ever, like the worst since 2012, and you didn't sign Pinheiro anyways and gave Jake a chance again coming into the year. There's no logical thinking there whatsoever.
I mean, not only that, it was like this whole pretty recently, like within a month or so, Lynch went on KMBR and was like, Jake's going to be our kicker for a long time to come, a lot of years ahead. And, it's like, are you seeing kicks that we're not seeing? Because the kicks that we're seeing are pretty freaking shaky, John.
Yeah.
But I mean, eventually they saw what we saw and whatever. Let's move on. They're moving on. We should move on. But I guarantee you I'm going to have a much more consistent feeling. And the Niners are too. Once this guy just, hops onto the field and starts making a few field goals, and all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this is because the rest of the league is like every kick inside of 55 is like money. And for the Niners, it was like nothing was money. Extra points weren't even money.
Pinheiro could very easily hit 3 kicks this weekend and be the difference in the game for San Francisco if it gets close. Like, that's what we're talking about. Like, that's why getting him in here is so important and so imperative after how bad Jake has been. Like, people don't want to admit this, but kickers are a really important job. Like, they are one of the reasons you can put up points in the NFL. And if your offense with a backup quarterback stalls, whether it's in the red zone or at the 35-yard line, like, you got to have a guy that can get you 3. 3 can get you a 23-20 win, or to be the difference by 1 point to help get you a victory. Like you saw week 1, the Steelers and Jets game. You saw the Bills and the Ravens game. Like kickers matter. I don't know why they fumbled it for so long, and thankfully they found a way to get out of it because Eddie Pinheiro may be the biggest difference in how this team looks in the bridge getting back to Brock Purdy and George Kittle.
Let's jump topics. Niners are probably going to have a heavy run plan because Arizona ran it on New Orleans, and the Niners, obviously with Mac Jones, there's incentive to run the ball. It may be a 40-run game. If it is, what would be the split you'd like to see between CMC, Brian Robinson, Garendo, and Jordan James?
My preference would be to keep Christian McCaffrey's runs around 15. Maybe Brian Robinson gets 12, 10. That gets you at around 25. And if Jordan James gets you 5, you're around 30, and you can figure the rest out. I don't know what the extra 10 looks like for you, but I would really like to avoid having Christian McCaffrey touch the football 30 plus times back-to-back weeks going into week 3. You could not have CMC with 60 plus touches under his belt walking into a week 3 game off an Achilles injury, which cost him almost the entire year last year. So I'm hoping it's around 16, 15, maybe 18 at most for Christian McCaffrey. Then Robinson gets about 10 to 15 in that range. And James, who they seem to like a lot. I don't know how you feel about him, but I think he'll probably get about 3 to 5 on Sunday. Get his feet wet and pull him out. I really don't think we're going to see Garendo at all on the ground. I don't know why that's the case. I get there's vision problems sometimes, but he's got 4.3 speed. Like you find a way to use that. It like that can change a game for you. So, but I think he's buried on the depth chart. I think his stock is so low for them. I think he only plays if somebody else gets hurt, which I hate that because I do like Garendo, but it feels like it's a 3-man job and he's not part of that whatsoever.
Somebody suggests, well, before we get to that, somebody suggested that I agree with you, by the way, on Garendo. He's clearly buried. As far as Jordan James, I don't know if he's any good. I don't. I mean, he's got the right build that I like to see in a running back. He's squatty and powerful, but he's not like a home run hitter speed wise. But I've heard over and over again, he's a perfect fit for the outside zone. But something about the Oregon backs screams out soft to me, but then Bucky Irving had a really good year last year. Yeah. So I don't know, but I didn't see anything in the preseason that made me go, yes, they got Jordan James. I mean, I'm open-minded, but I don't know what to expect. I really don't.
Well, so that's the thing with James is that primarily he was an inside zone back at Oregon, and I thought the assumption coming into the year was he was going to become the RB2 eventually behind Christian McCaffrey, be kind of the short yardage guy, because at Oregon last year, all 15 of his touchdown runs were inside the red zone. Talk about capping off drives and finishing off drives and getting the football into the end zone, in which San Francisco has really struggled inside the 20 to get the ball in the end zone. That's where his bread and butter comes in. So maybe you see him on Sunday. I'm not sure, but I think they view him that way, of like a guy that has good contact balance, can stay on his feet and hopefully punch it in. But now he's the RB3. You really can't do that on 3 carries in a game. You want to get your feet wet in your first game ever off the broken finger, which somehow took him 4 weeks to get back healthy from, which is awkward. But it does feel like that you will get probably 2 running backs. You may even get a Kyle Juszczyk fullback dive for all we know. Kyle loves that stuff on 4th down, so maybe that happens. But I think it'll be, once again, like Kyle loves to do, a heavy CMC dosage on Sunday, which will probably have his touches above 60 walking into week 3.
One of the guys, sometimes in football, people will make a mistake on a guy because they'll just be like, they have some rule, whatever. If anybody falls asleep in a meeting, I'm cutting his ass or whatever. You know what I mean? They'll, Jimmy Johnson did that. And sometimes at the beginning of a regime, sometimes guys get made examples of by a coach. Yeah. And that's going on right now. And usually those coaches learn to kind of rue the day they do that, because you're saying usually goodbye to a good player. I think the Jets feel like they did. Or I feel like the Jets did that with Xavier Gibson this week.
Yeah.
Good return guy from Stephen F. Austin. 5'9", 190. Niners have Sky Moore right now, but I mean, this guy is probably better than Sky Moore. He's kind of a slot receiver, return guy, pretty explosive. And Aaron Glenn is like, hey man, if you fumble, you're not going to be here. And he fumbled in week 1, and so they cut his ass. And it's like, I get that, and it's great. You're establishing a program, but you just cut a good player. You just cut a good player because he fumbled. And I get it. I mean, fumbling is a big part of it. But this guy was the WAC Offensive Player of the Year. This is a really, really special return guy. Very dynamic.
Sky Moore fumbled last week too. He just recovered it.
Exactly.
Sky Moore's not good either.
And I've heard some Jets people suggest in the last 24 hours, hey, you know what? Robert Saleh loves Xavier Gibson, and he's going to wind up in San Francisco. If I were the Niners, I know that they signed Sky Moore and this and that, but I would just keep trading. If I can trade up, using the waiver wire in the back of the roster, I almost would like John Lynch to take on some Farhan Zaidi at the back end of the roster in the depth chart and the practice squad, and just start cycling through some players looking for some gems, because I think Xavier Gibson could be one. I mean, they need a good return guy. Watching the Niners special teams, it's pretty obvious to everybody they've not arrived yet. And this guy in college had 4 career punt return touchdowns. He's got good speed. He's got a great feel with the ball in his hands. He needs to hold on. There's no question. And turnovers are bad, but I mean, this guy's more of a home run hitter than Sky Moore. I kind of like Xavier Gibson. I might take a shot on Xavier Gibson. What do you think?
I think he got claimed by the Giants
today
or yesterday. I'm pretty sure he got claimed, but to your point,
yeah, he would have been nice.
We could agree that the Niners aren't dynamic in the return game. Obviously, Guarendo's doing kicks and Moore is doing punts, but do they not have the best college punt returner on the practice squad right now? And I get him up to punt in the preseason, and they have a receiver issue that guys that can actually run routes on the field, and Burgeon isn't that. But Burgeon was the best punt returner in football last year in college. Why not just toss him out there, see what he can do?
Yeah, I hear you. As a punt returner, as a kick returner, this whole kick return thing's totally different. Right. I mean, he's not a dynamic kick returner, and I don't even think he's that dynamic, period. And also, he also muffed one in the preseason.
Right.
So I don't think he's the answer. But
do you think when Cowing, if he ever comes back, will take over Sky Moore's job and Sky Moore gets cut? That kind of feels like the route they're going to take.
He's going to have to show what he's got too. I don't know why he would be on scholarship. I mean, what the hell is Sky Moore, or what the hell is Jacob Cowing ever done in the NFL to justify anything, really? I mean, I think though that the fact that they've kept him around through the fact that he didn't do squat all summer shows how much they like him. That's for sure. Niners, by the way, are still favored by 3.5 to win this game on Sunday. Does that surprise you?
I don't think so. I think that's more indicative of how bad the Saints are than how good a backup quarterback for San Francisco is and how big the loss of Kittle is. The Saints are a bad team. Like, we can't forget that. They are, again, one of, if not the worst team in football this season. They had a tough fought game against the Cardinals. They could have tied it late, but Spencer Rattler's averaging over a turnover a game this point in his career, never won a game thus far. They have a Mike McCarthy style Kellen Moore offense they're running, and they have the Brandon Staley defense. I'm really not shocked San Francisco's a favorite still. And really, like, Mac Jones, even on paper, is probably a better quarterback than Spencer Rattler is right now, at least. I like Rattler, but there's issues, clearly. But even as banged up as San Francisco is, a much, much better team than the Saints are.
It's funny. Sala was talking up Spencer Rattler today. He's like,
Yeah.
Rattler, this is what he said. He says, I'm telling you, this kid's going to be a household name by the end of the year.
All right.
I guess it depends what household, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, come on. Really? Really? I find that's going to be a pretty neat little trick. Let me ask you about Mikael Williams.
Okay.
So Mikael Williams was not a stat sheet guy this last week.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, no tackles, no assists, no sacks, no pressures, no hurries, no quarterback hits. He went just straight 0 across the board. But then when I did watch the All-22, there's something really to like about him and Yatir Gross-Matos on the inside as interior pass rushers.
Yeah.
Let's hear what Sala had to say about Mikael Williams. I thought he said some good things, but he also sounded very, I don't know, he just sounded kind of, this is the 11th pick in the draft. I was kind of wanting him to sound more like this guy's going to be good, Instead, it was, I mean, you tell me what you think he said. He said some good things about him. It wasn't like he said bad things about him. It just didn't, he kind of sounds I'll give you the long version of this. He sounds a little, his evaluation seems a little muted.
And,
here we go.
How would you assess Mikael's first game? He didn't exactly light up the stat sheet, but he was on the field a lot.
Yeah, he was. He, there's a lot of things he's got to clean up. There's, when you get into an NFL game plan and it's going pretty quick, there's a lot of assignments, alignments for those guys where, they're not just lining up in the same spot. Like in years past, there's different things that we're asking him to do, which is a lot for a rookie. And, when his feet are in the ground and he knows what to do, he looks really good, and he'll come along. He'll come along just fine. But he on the 40-yard play, got it. You talk about inches on the 40-yard play to at the end of the game. He's about to end it, and that center for Seattle, I think, makes an unbelievable play to save it. But Mikael is he's free off the pick, and he's about to end the game. But so he did a lot of really good things, but there's obviously some things he's got to clean up.
Like him more from the inside or from the outside? Do you like what he's been doing from the inside more or the outside?
It's going to be a work in progress for both. He's gonna make his living, at least while we're here, being a first and second down run defender on the outside, and then rushing the passer on the inside. And we think he can rush the passer outside too, but we also think that he can be an elite interior pass rusher, which is very hard to find. Those guys are rare, even more rare than an edge guy. So he's got great versatility to him. And when you ask guys to go inside out, it does take them probably a little bit more time. Especially when you think of our philosophy, we try to get guys doing one thing and doing it really, really well. He's in a position, and his greatest gift is his greatest curse in terms of his versatility. And we're trying to make sure that we balance it enough so that way he can maximize who he is.
Great answer there from Robert Sala. Sterling, I'll throw it to you. Give me your impressions of young Mikael Williams, the 11th pick overall.
I think everybody knew it's going to take some time with him. He's not this pass rusher specialist you bring in. He's not a James Pierce Jr., a guy who's a true pass rushing edge rusher. He's a guy that is strong, and it's going to take, and he even said this, I believe, in his post-draft press conference of I know I have to get better with my pass rush plan. Right now, I'm all strength. I'm all bull rush, and I can't do much else. But I know if I can learn quickly, I can be able to get to the quarterback more. And I think it's pretty obvious that he's not there yet. His strength is there. I think on the first play of the game, he had a nice bull rush against the right tackle and was getting pressure on Darnold, but obviously it didn't get to him. But I mean, I'm not someone that is banking on Mikael being a star player or a pivotal role player in year one. Obviously, he's your first round draft pick, but Eric Armstead took 2 years to explode even in this defense. He wasn't great in 17. He was getting better in 18, but he wasn't there yet. It took till 2019, 2 years in this defense to finally grow into that role. And obviously, there's more context involved, but I think you give Michael 6 weeks, you give Michael 10 weeks. I think it feeds back into the Shanahan Sirius XM interview where he says the defense we have week 1 is not going to be what it is week 12. I think the growth you'll see progressively over time is Michael. Like, you're going to see the pass rush plan start to show a little bit, some moves show, the speed pick up and whatnot. But I think Saul is right. Like, sometimes your first game against a Kubiak offense or Shanahan offense, you're going to get tossed around a little bit. You're going to get moved around and you're going to feel overwhelmed. Alfred Collins was terrible, unplayable on Sunday. And there's reasons for that. Young player, bad pad level, no real balance after the initial hit. I think Michael has those things already in place, but clearly needs 10 weeks of finally pick up where he should be. But I think you look at him like this weekend, really, like the Saints are probably going to have their backup right tackle in place, not going to have Talise Fuaga. Maybe Michael gets home once and we finally see something from him. So this is a game where I think Michael can actually finally eat a little bit, maybe get a sack, like Salah said, he almost had. Get one on Sunday. The critics fall down pretty easily for him.
It's just one of those things where you could have the right, players, and you could have the right coaches coaching those players. But it takes time. I mean, it's like it takes time. What he's basically saying is that in college, he just kind of played. And here it's like we have specific things that you need to do in unison with the other 3 guys that you're playing with. And we're going to expect that you're doing the right things when we're asking you to do them. That's how we coordinate our defensive line. And you can tell he's like, hey, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. He's just kind of out there. When he knows what he basically said, when he knows what he's doing and he knows what his objective is, he's pretty good. But that tells you that there's a lot of plays out there where he really doesn't know what he's doing. He's just kind of rolling around. So it's going to take some time. It's going to take, and it shows. It shows. I was looking at a list. To me, the only thing that matters is production. Everything else is like, it's great that you think he's going to be good down the road, but it's like all that really matters is producing, because if you produce, you're good. If you don't produce, you're not good. It doesn't really, you don't get forever to figure it out.
Right. Unless you're Jake Moody.
Yeah, unless you're Jake Moody, then you get a long freaking time. Every rookie defender that generated multiple pressures in week 1, here's the list. James Pierce from Atlanta, 4 pressures. Dude, he's a sick pass rusher.
Cost him 2 first-round draft picks to get him, too.
I know, but you know
better
what?
Paid off.
That guy was considered a blue chipper coming into the year, and then he had some personality things and some conflicts with coaches, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, this guy's a bad guy and blah, blah, blah. And, everybody forgot that, but at the beginning of the year, this guy was supposed to go top 5. And
he's a excellent pass rusher.
He's an excellent pass rusher. You just don't see athletes like this at 250 pounds. This guy's got he's a futuristic 2030, 2040 kind of an athlete at 250 pounds. He's linear and fast and quick and twitchy. He's really, really exciting. James Pierce from Atlanta, and Atlanta's coming on. 4 pressures for Pierce. Abdul Carter, New York Giants, 4 pressures. My guy, Shamar Stewart, A&M at Cincinnati, 3 pressures. I don't know if you saw him throw away somebody this week. Who was it? It was some ridiculous big-bodied guy that he just threw down on the ground, and people were like, oh, my God, Shamar Stewart. Jordan Birch, the Oregon Duck for Arizona, coming up next week.
Love
3 pressures for Jordan Birch. He's a big edge rusher, like 280, right? 285, something like that.
Play inside, it can play outside too.
Yeah, that's a good pick right there. Here's another guy that I loved in the draft. I think you did too. For Baltimore, Aeneas Peebles.
Yeah.
From Vatek. 2 pressures for him. Yaya Black for the Steelers, played at Iowa. Didn't have to change his colors. He had 2. And Olufemi Oladejo. I mean, I probably did 5 videos on this guy. I mean, if his family probably thought I was stalking him in March. I mean, I talked so much about Oladejo. I probably said Oladejo more than I said my kids' names in the month of April. And I hate to say that. It's probably true. 2 pressures for Oladejo out of Tennessee. So there's no McKell there, and there's no Alfred
Right.
Collins, and there's no CJ West. And I like all 3 of those guys, but it's going to take time. They have a coach they love. They may be the right guys, but it's such a technique rich position that you got, and either you can or you can't. And I don't know that you coach it up either as far as some of the special pass rush traits. So I'm not saying they got the wrong guy. Pierce was on the board though, right? Wasn't he on the board, or was he not?
Yeah, he went to the Rams, traded back with Atlanta for the Falcons to take Pierce. But
They
I
could
also
have had
think it's-
Pierce. They could have had Shamar. They could have had Peebles. They could have had Birch.
I think it's fair to say, though, that while this won't be on a box score, it may be on tape, which maybe you can say more about this than I can. But Mike will probably be somebody that is freeing up Bosa and freeing up Bryce Huff and freeing up other guys on the exterior to on stunts to get around. And so we can look at the box score and say, oh, he didn't have any sacks or no pressures. But if he's generating or freeing up pressures for Bosa and Huff, he's doing his job, right? Eric Armstead, for as good as he was, his job was to free up other guys on the exterior. Same with Buckner too at times. But I think for Mikel early in his career, it'll be, hey, you're not ready yet to put you on the edge on 3rd down. Can you free up the other guys around you? I think that's where his production may come from, which again, on the box score doesn't jump out and say, oh, he's not a 10-sack guy in his first season. But if Bosa has 14 sacks this year and Mikel helps get 4 of those or 5 of those, then really you're a 5-sack player.
Right. No, I mean, and I do think Mikel's going to get better and better as it goes. But like right now, you just heard what Saleh said. It's like for us, he's a 1st and 2nd down edge setting run defender. And he's a, 3rd down, whatever package you want to call it, NASCAR package, interior rusher on 3rd down. So, I mean, there's a ton of snaps there for him, right? I mean, Mikel Williams is going to play a lot of snaps. It's a lot of snaps. They got a plan for him on almost every down. So,
and that was also his NFL debut. He didn't play the entire preseason either. So that week 1 against Seattle was like, hey, you don't get any ramp up. You got to go. So maybe week 2, he feels more comfortable and hopefully maybe can fill up a box score this Sunday.
One of the worst parts of last year, it's like, some people are like, hey, the Niners are the same team as they were last year. I'm like, I don't know about that.
No,
they were 32nd wide receiver separation. They have added, Jordan Watkins and DeMarcus Robinson. I think that's going to help. They were horrible on special teams. I'm hoping that Boyer, if week 1 was not an indication, and now that they moved off of Moody, that special teams might actually be pretty good. But the big thing with the Niners is their disparity on defense between points and yards. They were an incredible top 10 defense in yards, but they were a bottom tier defense as far as points because they were so disastrous in the red zone. The Niner red zone defense was horrific last year. Opposing offenses, when they got inside the Niners 20, they scored touchdowns. Wait for it. 68% of the time. That is atrocious. Is that going to be better this year under Robert Saleh? Should just going from Sorensen to Saleh? Are we going to see that number on just the coordinator switch? I mean, how do you think the Niners are going to play in the red zone?
Well, I think we already saw it against Seattle. It's going to be improved a lot. Now, a lot of that comes down to tackling. San Francisco couldn't tackle last year anybody, whether it was just whiffing on guys or not bringing guys down and using an arm tackle or going for the big hit. And, you whiff big time. I think we saw against Seattle, I think they had a 78 PFF grade on tackling, which was like their best grade all last year. So you're already seeing an improvement there. And I think if I'm right, I think Seattle only got into the red zone how many times? 3 times on Sunday, and they only scored once. And one of those was because Stout got called for the PI, put him at the 1, and it's a walk-in touchdown. So they also take last week against Seattle, for example. That last drive for Seattle, last year's team gives up that touchdown every time. Last week, though, Bosa, big sack, guys are covered, nowhere to throw, bullies Abraham Lucas back into the quarterback, gets a strip sack. Like, to me, that's the difference. You talked about, the TOP, running the football, playing keep away, keeping your defense fresh. That's why that matters. For late in games, final drive, can your defense hold on, play bend, don't break, right? That's why it matters. So I think having Saleh in itself is already a massive improvement, but once you get into the semantics and the nitty gritty and everything about it, like it's so crazy how great Saleh can be for this defense. Now, how important it can be putting guys in the right spot, the stunts, the creativity. Like, it makes Sorensen look like he shouldn't even have a job in the NFL, which he's coaching special teams now. Like, he got demoted a whole coordinator job to special teams, and he probably shouldn't even be doing that in Dallas.
I mean, I just couldn't believe how many times he said communication breakdown. It's like, bro, are you hearing yourself? You are saying communication breakdown almost every day. It was almost as bad as like Singletary with his, I've got to watch the film. I got to watch the film. I got to see the film. I've never seen anybody who was involved in a football game with the headsets on from start to finish who knew less about that game than Singletary. He would be like, I got to see the film. You got to see the film. You decided you were there.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, bro. Ricky Pearsall. Let's talk Ricky Pearsall for a second.
Heck yeah.
Ricky Pearsall, the last 3 regular season games, last week against Seattle, the 2 last games last year. You just take those 3 games as his pace and extrapolate it out to a 17-game season. It produces numbers at the end of the year that could look for like 102 receptions, 1,802 yards, and 11 touchdowns. How close do you think Ricky Pearsall at the end of the year will get to those numbers?
I'm not too confident. Mainly it's because of the injury history San Francisco has. And with Brock Purdy being out for what seems like 1 to 2 to 5 weeks, who knows, and them taking a more grounded approach to the offense, maybe his targets dwindle. But I think those stats would surpass Ayuk's production in 2023. They got him paid $30 million. If that seems right to me. And honestly, like I think Pearsall has the makings of a phenomenal receiver. Obviously, the routes are great. The speed's not phenomenal, but it's good enough. We saw him burn Reek Woolen twice, big time, against Seattle. Like, he may not play for the Seahawks on week 2 because of that. Like that's how good Pearsall is. And I think, last year we didn't see much of it, and we kind of got a late glimpse of it. And okay, that's what it can be. But I think, again, on Sunday against the Saints, like, it's Paulson the Debo and it's Isaac Yiadom. Like, that shouldn't be too big of a test for him either. So I don't know what the season-long output is, but week 2, I mean, you got Mac Jones going deep. You got target Watson, target Pearsall too. He had a 40-yard catch last week. Do it again.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's going to achieve those numbers. Obviously, this is the high water mark, but I think he's going to have good numbers. Yeah. I think he's going to have really good numbers, and of those, I think he might get close to the receptions.
Okay,
because even though he only had 4 this last week, I think once, I think you're going to see he's going to have lots of games of double-digit receptions. I just think he's one of those guys that's going to run a lot of routes and be in lockstep with the quarterback. We'll see. Let's talk about the Saints on the defensive side of the ball. They couldn't stop Arizona's run, but it's not a bad defense. I mean, if you look at the Saints, I think they're kind of a rebuilding team when it comes to the offense. You've got a first-year head coach, you got a young quarterback. You just mentioned Talieisi Fuaga is already out there, starting right tackle, their number 1 pick from a year ago. They also drafted Kelvin Banks out of Texas this year, so they've got him. They've got 4 number ones on this offensive line. There was a lot of talk that they may trade Chris Olave, a lot of talk that they may try to sell out for Arch Manning. I don't know why you would, based on what I've seen. But this defense is like a 5-2 front They got a lot of big bodies. They got Godchalk and Brian Breezy. Breezy from Clemson and Godchalk from New England. Those guys are monsters. Nathan Shepard is a 300-pounder as well. So they've got three big-bodied guys inside. And then you've got Carl Granderson and Chase Young off the edges. They've moved Cam Jordan out there as well. So, and then DeMario Davis and Pete Werner inside. They got a couple good inside linebackers. Kool-Aid McKinstry at right corner is a first-round draft pick.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not like this is a team that doesn't have, Justin Reed was signed, Eric Reed's brother, to be the strong safety here. They brought in Yadam. I'm not a big Yadam fan, but there's got some decent talent on this defensive side of the ball. And even though they gave up 5+ a carry to Arizona, on paper, it looks like it could be a real challenge for the 49er offensive line.
Yeah, sure. I get that. I don't think Chase Young is playing on Sunday, which doesn't matter that much. I don't know. Chase Young is so inconsistent. He can get 3 sacks on Sunday, and then he can get none the next 5 games or so. But I will say, for all the personnel you may like on that team, they are run by Brandon Staley. And he may be, at least in my opinion, one of the worst defensive coordinators in football. Like, he plays quarters defense. He may run a 5-man front, but if there is one man to save them, it is DeMario Davis, who is somehow an ageless wonder playing linebacker. He was tremendous week 1 against the Cardinals. And I know we all love Fred Warner. DeMario Davis has been not as good, but he's been in that top 5 middle linebacker, Mike linebacker conversation for a very long time, and he deserves his credit. But I think that the Saints are a scrappy team that are banking on their defense, keeping that really inconsistent offense in games. But I just can't buy into anything Brandon Staley leads. He was here last year and it wasn't great. Obviously, he was an assistant. He wasn't calling plays, but I just can't buy into anything he does. Like, I don't know why he was hired in New Orleans. I don't know why Kellen Moore put his hat on him and said, you lead this defense. But I think Shanahan's probably licking his lips saying, Brandon Staley? Okay, bring it on. We'll see how this goes.
Let's bring on some of the supers. We're an hour and 12 minutes into our live stream, and we're probably going to go for about an hour and a half. I do want to get some picks going on week 2. We'll do our Habas picks here in just a second. But first, let's go to our supers. Joseph Ernberg says the Niners just got way better at quarterback Mac time. What if Mac Jones plays well? Will the fan base be like, you shouldn't have spent $265 million on Brock Purdy. He's injury prone. He's small. He's this. He misses time. They should never have spent that money. Is that going to happen if Mac Jones throws for like 340 and 3 touchdowns and the Niners go on a 5-game winning streak with Mac Jones?
I mean, did Packers fans do it last year when Malik Willis saved their season in the first 3 weeks? No. And they
ran
either.
it 53 times, though.
Right. Right.
That's a lot of runs.
And there's differences, but if Niner fans start clamoring for Mac Jones, who I do think fits the offense well, and I think can capitalize on how bad the Saints defense or the Saints can be and how inconsistent the Cardinals defense can be. But if Mac Jones is throwing for nearly 400 yards or 350 yards and 2 touchdowns a game, like, we need to know what religious activity did he do to cleanse himself of the Patriots and Jaguars stink, because this team needs that with the injury stuff. But no, there is no way anyone is sitting back here like, if Mac plays well, maybe $53 million a year was too much for Brock Purdy. No one should be doing that.
It's funny. Robert Saleh admitted to us today that he had a dream earlier this week or last week that the Seahawks scored like 37, and of course they didn't. But I wonder, if Mac Jones sees like Matt Patricia in his dreams, like, no, another defensive coordinator. I mean, they screwed him up, man. He went to the Pro Bowl as a rookie. Then all of a sudden, here's Matt Patricia. Then it's Bill O'Brien. Then it's horrendous wide receivers. Then it's backing up Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I don't know, man. I feel like that Mac Jones may not have gotten necessarily a fair run. We're going to find out. We're going to find out what he's got. So there you go. Ernberg saying he likes Mac Jones. Worst Jen just says, hey, $1.99. Comes back with it. I'm 21. In this order, I saw Giants NFC fumble, Seahawks NFC loss, and 3 Super Bowl losses. I thought Jeremy Curley was Rice.
Oh my goodness.
That is awesome. I thought Jeremy Curley was Rice.
Man.
Oh my gosh. I feel bad for Niner fans, young Niner fans. It's like, it's a tough one.
It's not been great.
It's not been great.
It's not been great.
It's not been great.
Having
Not
to
at
live
all.
through Arnaz battle and Daryl Jackson catch, 1 touchdown a year in 2008 was not fun.
Oh my God. What about Kyle Williams in that New York Giants game? That was unbelievable.
Jeez.
All right. Let's do a mention here of our good friends at Habas Law. In fact, if you're we want to tell you, we got a kind of a unique thing we want to tell you about. If you're listening to the stream tonight, you're a fan of the Krug Show. We have a big team that you can join, the team that donates blood. That's right. Hot Yoga Republic in Mill Valley is teaming up with Vitalant for a blood drive September 25th and 26th at their studio in the Strawberry Village Shopping Center. Here's the deal. You just roll up your sleeve, you give blood, save a life. Every 2 seconds, somebody needs it. Accident victims, kids in chemo, moms in childbirth, real people, people right here in Northern California. If you're within the sound of my voice here in Northern California, a lot of people are watching all around the country and the world on YouTube. If you can't make it to Mill Valley, no problem. Visit hotyogarepublic.com and you'll find Vitalant donation sites all over the Bay. That's hotyogarepublic.com. And a huge shout out to our friends at Habas Law, who are proud sponsors of the Krug Show, for backing this. Omar and Tarek and their whole team. They're fierce and they're relentless. They always fighting to make it right for our community. And, as I've said to you guys many times, my late father was an attorney for 38 years. He worked for the San Francisco City Attorney's Office, and he loved being an attorney. And my brother is an attorney, now a judge. My sister, believe it or not, is an attorney as well. So there's a lot of attorneys in our family, but I know the difference between a good attorney and a bad attorney. And when you're really in a pinch, you need a good attorney, and that's what Omar and Tarek Habas are. They're great attorneys, and you want them in your corner. So they battle insurance companies and they beat insurance companies. They get you the money that you deserve. Give them a call if you're in a pinch. 1-800-INJURED. They will fight to make it right. They're great guys, and we're really proud to be associated with Habas Law. So thanks to Habas Law for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Let's talk about week 2 in the NFL. Tonight, it started with the Packers beating the Commanders 27-18. But let's go through. Let's make some picks. I haven't done picks in a while. I heard some people making picks today, and I kind of enjoy it. Let's try to pick. Let's see. Let's just for giggles, let's just see how we do, Sterling, and we'll compare notes next week. I will write this down. Do you want to do it with or without the spread?
Let's do it without the spread. Just straight on
Without
wins
the
and
spread.
losses.
Straight out wins and losses. Okay. Jaguars, Bengals in Cincinnati. Who do you got?
Cincinnati. They're a terrible week 1 team. I think that offense, Jamar Chase, 2 receptions, 4 receptions, maybe last week, did nothing. I think they're in for a big game. I don't trust the Jacksonville Jaguars defense. They just traded Tank Bigsby away. They don't know who the running backs are. I like Liam Cohen and I like Trevor Lawrence together, but that'll take some time to get flowing. I think the Bengals are in for a big game. T. Higgins, Chase Brown as well, and Joe Burrow is a recipe for disaster for that Jaguars defense.
On paper, this looks like, oh man, big time shootout. But I don't think it's going to be a super high-scoring game for the Jaguars. I love what I've seen so far with Al Golden's defense. I think the Bengals are really an exciting Super Bowl team because of Al Golden. Now, obviously, they've got
Yeah.
great offensive talent, but Al Golden comes over from Notre Dame. He's a really good defensive coach, and look what they did in week 1. They looked really good. They shut down the Browns. So I'm going to say Bengals as well. Bengals over Jaguars, and I like the Jaguars to really be held down. New York Giants at Dallas. Who do you got?
Whatever team is not quarterbacked by Russell Wilson in the year 2025 is probably getting that win. So Dallas, I think, looked pretty competent against the Philadelphia Eagles. It's week 1. Things get tricky. It's like baseball, right? The first series is always really funky. You have no idea who's good or who's bad. But I think the Dallas Cowboys win that game. The Giants' defense is better. It's improved, but they just can't move the football. They were in that Commanders game a little bit, and they just couldn't get in the end zone. So I do not trust Brian Dable's offense. I don't trust Russell Wilson. I don't trust anything happening on the offense outside of Malik Neighbors, which I think after they lose this Sunday, bring on the Jackson Dart calls. They're coming soon.
Yeah, no, I think, Malik Neighbors is already losing faith in Russell Wilson. There may be a change mid-game here. I'm going to say Cowboys win in a rout. I do think it's going to be kind of a lower scoring game initially, but I think the Cowboys eventually will tilt the thing in their direction, and I think they pile on late.
Do we get?
I like the Cowboys.
Do we get Jackson Dart or do we get Jameis Winston mid-game is the question.
I think it's Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart. Bears-Lions in Detroit. How do you see this one? This is interesting. Bears are 0-1. Lions are 0-1. This would be a huge loss for the Lions if they lose this game.
The Lions have a lot of questions, right? New defensive coordinator. I don't think they have Ali McNeil yet. The offensive coordinator, obviously Ben Johnson's now in Chicago. Caleb Williams looked like he was loving the dink and dunk early in that game against Minnesota. Minnesota obviously comes back. Caleb can't figure it out late. I think the Lions are a much better roster. I think they're a better team. They are angry after losing in Green Bay last week. They're upset. They don't want to fall to 0-2 in the division. I think the Bears are in for another loss, maybe in heartbreaking fashion, consecutive weeks.
Yeah, I like the Lions too. I think the Lions are they're not falling to 0-2. I think the Lions have real problems. But I like the Lions. I like the Lions in this game. I like them to win and cover. Rams Titans in Tennessee. The Rams in week 1 shut down the Texans. The Titans are 0-1, but they're at home in Nashville. Rams are 5.5-point favorites. Who do you like, the Rams or the Titans?
This one might get ugly. Like, this is one where you look at it and go, wow, it's 31-7. What happened in Tennessee? They're one of the worst teams in football. I think Cam Ward played better than the box score indicated, but Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, Puka Nacua, Sean McVay, that Rams defense is awesome. This is a rout. Easy route for the Rams. They're going to be 2-0 by the end of week 2.
Yeah, I like the Rams as well. I think the Rams win this game big. Rams offense was not great in week 1, but it will bust out here. Pats and Dolphins in Miami. Who do you got?
Oh, Lord. Mike McDaniel might get fired after week 2 if they have as bad as a game they had in week 1. I really like the Patriots. You've heard, the Dolphins are having team meetings, player-only meetings after one loss to begin the year. They're a mess. They're a disaster. Tyreek Hill's upset. Jalen Waddle, he's not getting the ball. They don't really know who the running backs are. Devon Achane's great, but McDaniels, it's so many bad things happening in Miami. The Patriots finally have some stability. I think Drake May is tremendous as a quarterback coming into year 2. So I'm going Pats, upsetting the Dolphins. I just don't like the Dolphins at all this year.
I think the book is out. I don't think Tua can read coverage. I think everybody knows it, and I think he's going to be done really, really soon. So I like New England as well. I like Drake May and the Patriots to win on the road. Niners, so far we've agreed on all. Niners and Saints in the Dome. Niners 3.5-point favorites. Mac Jones against Spencer Rattler.
I think the San Francisco 49ers win this Sunday. I think they are able to pretty much put a stranglehold on the Saints offensively. I don't think the Saints score more than 13 points in this game, maybe even 10. The Saints last week, when they were in third and longs, they averaged 6.8 yards to gain. That was 21st in football. They were 5 for 14, 28% on thirds down. Rattler will give away the football each and every week. My money's on San Francisco. Without Brock Purdy, without George Kittle, they find a way to win. Maybe it's the Eddie De Niro show with the field goal stuff, but San Francisco better win this Sunday. It's a must-win game for them, I think, early on in the season.
Yeah, I think the Niners win. I think it's a run-heavy plan, and I think they win convincingly. They cover that 3.5. Bills and Jets from MetLife. Bills are 6.5-point favorites on the road. Bills are 1-0. Jets are 0-1. Who do you like?
My heart wants to say the Bills, right? You came back against the Ravens, but does Justin Fields have this weird kind of first half breakout? And we're all saying, there's the guy that was supposed to be the 3rd overall pick in 2021. There's the, top 12 overall pick in 2021. I don't know. I don't know what Aaron Glenn's doing over there. They lost the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They should have won that game by a lot more points than they lost it by. But I mean, it's the Bills. It's Josh Allen. It's Haley Steinfeld. You don't root against Haley Steinfeld and Josh Allen. So we're going Buffalo this Sunday.
This is the one. It's like every week in the NFL, there's like a spread or something that looks like funky. And, to me, the only thing I would say is instead of trying to beat the funky spread, go with the funky spread. I think the Bills win the game, but when I see 6.5, that tells me the Jets are going to keep it close. I'll take the Jets and the points. Okay. If I had to bet that game, I'm not going to bet it, but I like the Bills to win. Seahawks Steelers in Pittsburgh. What do you like?
I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. The defense was terrible last week. J.J. Watt was getting just bodied by Armin Membu, rookie out of Missouri this year. Like, what is going on? Their defense was not playing football well. Aaron Rodgers looked like he can at least still throw the football, which I think is a not great sign for the Seahawks defense. However, the Steelers offensive line could be a problem against the Seahawks defense if they bring blitzes and disguises and stuff. So I think it'll be close. We're talking 17-14, 2017. It'll be a close game, but right now I'll put money on the Steelers to pull it out.
I think it's a low scoring game, and I like the Seahawks to win on the road. Okay. I think the Seahawks are better than people think. And I think they'll do just enough to win on the road. I think the Steelers are going to struggle to score points against Seattle, but we'll see. We'll see on that one. Cleveland and Baltimore in Baltimore.
I mean, this one feels like the other no-brainer, right? Like Joe Flacco keeping the Browns alive for 2 straight weeks, losing the game because they missed field goal late. Like, is that what we're doing? No, it is a Lamar Jackson 45-point show this Sunday against the Browns defense. I know Lamar and Jim Schwartz's defense, how's that going to work itself out? But we have learned to not bet against Lamar Jackson. He may be the best quarterback in football. I think he's that good.
Yeah, I like the Ravens early in this game. I like them in the first half. I like the Ravens overall. They're 0-1. They're going to come out and take care of business. I think the Ravens win going away. It's a big number, but I definitely like Baltimore, even without the number. Denver and Indy in Indy. And a lot of people would have said Denver a week ago, but Indy looked good in week 1. Denver's only a 1.5-point favorite. What do you like?
Only a 1.5-point favorite? I know Bo Nix didn't play well week 1, but is Daniel Jones going to repeat? I do like Shane Steichen a lot, and I do think Daniel Jones can actually be at least an average quarterback in that offensive scheme. You obviously love Jonathan Taylor. You like the weapons they have out there, but I also love Sean Payton and Bo Nix. Go Ducks, go Bo Nix. I think the Broncos win that game.
I like Denver in that game. Panthers and Cardinals in the desert. Who do you got?
I have the Cardinals. I have a hard time. Like, the Cardinals often start off really hot, play really tough, and they fade late. I think that persists this season. I think they beat the Panthers, drop them to 0-2, and the Cardinals walk into week 3, hopefully against San Francisco. Both teams 2-0, vying to stay undefeated. So I'm going Cardinals.
Okay, I'm going Cardinals as well. I think Cardinals are just a significantly better team. And then Eagles Chiefs in Kansas City. on Sunday Night Football, the rematch of the Super Bowl. How do you see this?
The Chiefs got bullied in the trenches by the Chargers offensive line opening night, really, on Friday. I think Philadelphia does it again. They go in there, they push KC around. They don't have maybe Xavier Ward. They don't have Rashee Rice. I think KC, for as good as they could be, they're in for a setback this year. Not too big. They're going to be a good team, but I think the first 2 weeks are two big tests for them. I think Philadelphia wins that game simply based on trench warfare. What are the odds Jalen Carter gets tossed out twice, though? That's the real question.
I think Philadelphia sends another message here. I really think Philadelphia is going to win that game, maybe even big. I think, the whole bounce back thing, everybody in Kansas City is going to be, oh, yeah, they're going to bounce back. They're going to bounce back. It'll be close at first, but I like Philadelphia. I like Philadelphia to win and cover that game. I think they're going to stamp that what happened in the Super Bowl was not accidental. And I think this is the first game that we are going to be looking at the Chiefs as, their run in a past tense as opposed to in the present. So I think that's a big emotional game in Kansas City. I like Philadelphia. And then Atlanta, Minnesota in Minnesota on Monday Night Football. Who do you like in that one?
Big emotional win for the Vikings against the Bears. I have the Falcons walking into Minnesota, ending the Skull chance, getting a victory. Falcons could have won that game against the Buccaneers. I think the offense was kind of stymied early. They had a big play by Bijan Robinson. I think they walk into Minnesota, upset the Vikings. They have a great defense. Kevin O'Connell is probably the best passing game coordinator in football, but I'm going Atlanta.
Okay, that's good. I could totally see Atlanta. Atlanta, I think is I love Michael Penix, but you know what? This is a really tough place to play, and I just think that Minnesota is going to win this game. There's something about Minnesota and their place. I think they're really hard to beat in their place. So we agreed on almost all, but not all. We agreed on the Bengals over Jacksonville. We agreed on Dallas over the Giants. We agreed on Detroit over the Bears. We agreed on the Rams over the Titans. We agreed on the Patriots over Miami. We agreed on the Niners over the Saints. We agreed on Buffalo over the Jets. And we agreed on Baltimore over Cleveland. And we agreed on Denver over Indy. And we agreed on Arizona over Carolina. We agreed on Philadelphia over Kansas City. The only two we disagree on is you think Pittsburgh will beat Seattle in Pittsburgh. I'm going with Seattle. And you think Atlanta's going to beat Minnesota in Minnesota, and I'm going with the Vikings.
You know what's going to happen, right? Everything we agreed on, we're going to be wrong on. And everything we disagreed on to be a toss-up.
Exactly. Oh, and we didn't even go with the Monday night doubleheader. Monday night doubleheader. Tampa Bay at Houston. Who do you got?
Ooh. I really love the Houston Texans in that defense. The Buccaneers, still no Chris Godwin, but Emeka Mbuka is so good. They can move the football. I think I'm going to go Buccaneers. I just don't trust the Houston Texans in their ability to pass the football just yet. You love Collins, but you may not have Christian Kirk. I'm going Tampa Bay. I love me some Baker Mayfield. He'll have one of those classic QB sneak. He'll stiff arm somebody, get him to the ground, flex on him, and they'll get a W.
You know what? I think I'm with you on the Tampa Bay Bucks. I think there's going to be, some people going, are the Texans, were they overplayed? I mean, there may be some heat in Houston if they lose this game, but I think Buccaneers are going to beat them. I think Buccaneers are going to beat them. And then Chargers Raiders in Vegas. What do you got?
This game's going to be close. I think people underestimate Geno Smith a lot. The question really is, will Brock Bowers play? And if he doesn't play, the clear answer is the Chargers. But if Brock Bowers does play, I might pick the Raiders in an upset.
Wow. I mean, once again, if you look at that spread and you're like Chargers are only giving 3.5, it's begging you to take the Chargers, right? But it seems like a trap. Seems like too easy of a spread. Chargers, of course, are better than the Raiders. 3.5 is nothing. but that's the NFL. You know what I mean? That's what I'm going to say. I'll go with the since we're just going win. I'll go with the Chargers. Chargers are going to go to 2-0. I think Chargers are going to have a big year. Raiders are already got a win in week 1, but they'll fold here. I think the Chargers might be one of the NFL's better teams. In fact,
look phenomenal.
My Super Bowl pick at the beginning of the year was Chargers-Niners. And I don't, obviously the Niners is kind of on a hope. The Chargers is more of a pick with my head. Who was your Super Bowl pick at the beginning of the year? Did you make one?
I think it was Ravens and Packers. I love what Green Bay has going on. They have so many offensive weapons. They can run the football. They can pass the football. LaFleur is an amazing coach. Hafley has that defense just in rhythm. And the Ravens, because Lamar Jackson, man, I'm just hoping they can get out of their own way. If they can get out of their own way, then they're going to be great. But as you can tell, that is yet to be seen as early as week 1 this season.
Yeah. All right, good stuff. Sterling, tell people who, aren't familiar with you or aren't familiar with your channel, how they can follow you and how they can get a hold of your channel and start to subscribe.
Yeah, the channel is on YouTube or on audio podcasting platforms, simply called 49ers Access. We do things kind of like Larry does here, reacting to Niner news, breaking down games. I released my preview of Niners Saints Week 2, broken and dove into everything that could lead to a win and a loss this Sunday. You can also follow me on social media at 49ers.access is the Instagram, 49ers_access is the X or Twitter. And covering Niners 24/7 all day and every day.
We are on our way tomorrow to New Orleans, courtesy of Claw Daddy Arcades. One of the great sponsors of the Krug Show is Claw Daddy Arcades. He's a great follow on Instagram at Claw_Daddy_Arcades to find a location near you. We are going to the Big Easy for Niners Saints, courtesy of Claw Daddy Arcades. Thank you to Claw Daddy, and also thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. They're at 205 Cypress Avenue in Pacific Grove, California, along the Monterey Peninsula. My good friend Anthony Catania is a big Niner fan. He's at 831-521-5264. He's a great follow on Instagram at Sharp Corners 831 on the gram. So thanks to them, and of course, thanks to Sleeper, thanks to Habas Law, and thanks to you, Sterling. Good stuff, man. What are you doing for the game? Will you barbecue? Would you have a big party? Just you and the missus? What exactly how do you celebrate Niner? Some people want to be a bunch of people around. Some people are like, get these people out of my face.
What's funny you ask, because my wife today was telling me a story about how her friends get together. And I'm like, no. We are lone wolfing every Niner game this year. Don't bother me. We have the red zone on one screen, the Niner game on the other as soon as that turns on. So we're lone wolfing it. The chair is pulled up as close as it can to the TV. I want to see the action as close as possible. So we'll have the water, the coffee, the breakfast, maybe some lunch later. But we're locked in 10 a.m. New Orleans and San Francisco. Then hosting after that, but we'll leave that plug for a different time.
There you go. We appreciate you jumping on, and I'll be in New Orleans with Kev. We'll tomorrow morning. We're going to stream with Damon Bruce at 9 a.m. with Chase Senior at 10:45, and then we will be doing videos and all kinds of stuff from the Big Easy. We hope to make it to LSU in Florida Saturday night in Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge. We'll see if we can make it down there. I'm really excited for that, and of course Sunday in the Superdome, and we'll have full coverage. I'll be on the KMBR pregame, postgame, and then I'll have full coverage on the Krug Show from either the Superdome or somewhere there in New Orleans. We'll find a spot that we can stream from for postgame, but we'll do a big postgame from the Big Easy on Sunday, and then hopefully go dine somewhere in New Orleans on Sunday night. Man, I'm really looking forward to that. So anyway, thanks to Sterling. Thanks to all of you guys. Have a great rest of your night. Thanks for the supers and the people who participated via that route. And once again, thanks for supporting the Krug Show on YouTube. Have a great night, everybody. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of. Careful, you gon' get exactly what you asked for.